and 9,000, 10,000 people were coming out at night to these arenas.
Wow. Before we get into this conversation, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Ruslan, and this channel exists to encourage, empower, and inspire you to live a life that blesses God.
Ruslan.
But your explosion within the last couple years has been phenomenal. You and Brandon doing the amazing arena tours.
Yeah, Brandon Lake.
Yeah. KB was on some of those
KB
days
was
with you guys.
awesome.
Shout out to KB.
Incredible.
Good friend of mine. And it's just been so fun seeing these things and remembering, like, you've always kind of had, it's weird when we're from the same region because I don't really understand the magnitude of where someone is. But like we've always kind of heard like Phil Whickam, he's awesome, worship, awesome, right? So I've kind of grown up hearing that as far back as I can remember. Worship, Phil Whickam comes up, right?
Just being around this area.
Just being around this area. But then like really seeing it like just explode. And it's been so dope. So you were sharing some of this at breakfast. Tell me how like it kind of went from worship music, CCLI world, which we'll unpack what that is later, touring churches to arenas.
Yeah.
Average of 10,000 people a night.
Yeah, which that was a new thing for me, and I share that. I don't take the glory for that for sure. It's obviously the Lord just opening up doors, and then also I shared that tour with my good buddy Brandon Lake, which I don't think it would be 10,000 people a night without him. But yeah, so I've been doing this for a long time. When I was 13, I started leading worship. I'm 39 now. Did my first independent record because someone granted us $40,000 for us to be able to get this record done when I was 18.
Can we say who that was, or is that supposed to be?
Sure. Yeah. Well, the family that owns the Stussy company, they're actually, their last name is the Sinatras. They're amazing people, Christian people. I grew up knowing them. Actually, as a pastor's kid, many can relate whether you're a pastor kid or not, but we didn't have much, like I was like Target clothes or no clothes. And so for us to know the Stussy family, we'd get to go to the factory and they would let us pick out some outfits.
They made sure you guys were fresh.
Yeah, which was really kind of them because my dad was definitely on that 1990s worship leader salary, you know.
Being a pastor's kid has to be, financially not the most like lucrative, even though people may think it's like that. But you guys, it sounds like you had fairly humble beginnings.
Very humble, definitely month to month, living in a 1,200 square foot condo for most of my upbringing with my parents, with me and three kids and my parents. But I had everything I needed. I was happy and loved Jesus from an early age, and started playing guitar at 13, put out an independent record when I was 18, never sent it out anywhere, but somehow organically it made it to different places. Super short version of the story. Signed with the label when I was 21, and so I'm 39 now, so however many years that is, 17 years or so. Did I do the math correctly? People are gonna roast me for it's 17 years, right? 21 to 39. Am I right? 18. Oh,
yeah.
gosh.
Yeah, I'm a public school kid, so
Christian school kid. So 18 years of just like, there was always opportunity. There was always like offers from people to come and play this conference or be part of this event. But I honestly never, for years, I never thought of myself as like an artist that was going to go and sell hard tickets. And then all of a sudden, man, the last couple of years since 2020, I think it was just the right songs, the right time. But obviously, the favor of God was on it, and I could sense it. I remember telling my wife, even in 2020, when no one was out touring, I just felt like I think God's got something new and another level. She would 100%, verify that I was saying that. I just feel like the songs that are coming, and I think He's going to do a new thing this next decade. I think He wants me to be a part of it. I just had that real confidence, and I didn't know what that meant, like numbers-wise. I just felt like something new was coming. And then this song called Battle Belongs was written, and Hymn of Heaven, and another song called House of the Lord, and then this whole record called Hymn of Heaven was written almost all in 2020, and it felt so right for that moment. We started putting out those songs, and I could just, even when we put the songs out, I'd never gotten that kind of response from music before, and then we started touring again once things started to open up. Even in 2020, it wasn't really open, but it was open in Texas and open in Florida, and so we went there, selling out rooms halfway because you couldn't sell it more than halfway, because the city wouldn't allow it.
Sure.
And people were just showing up, and the churches were playing these songs, and you just could kind of sense like I'm not doing anything that different. I'm still singing songs about Jesus. I did hire a new media guy to do Instagram, so that all looks better. But other than that, like there's nothing much different. just had a great team around me, and we kept just pouring into what God had in front of us. And then a few years later, we're on this thing called Summer Worship Nights, this brand of tour that me and Brandon Lake created with our manager, Brandon Breitenbach. And 9,000, 10,000 people were coming on a night to these arenas to sing these songs like Mine, Battle Belongs, House of the Lord, Living Hope, and Lake. And his song Gratitude just exploded, and all these other songs. And I remember every night, me and Brandon, as the band is starting the intro to the night, we're looking around these arenas, and it's just full and sold out, and we're looking at each other, and every night we're like, have some tears in our eyes, just like, look at how crazy the grace of God is. Because just like anybody who is looking at themselves in a mirror and being honest, like we're so in line with the Gideons, you know, with the Samson, the ones that aren't so unworthy to be raised up. We're so in line. We're just so human, have done nothing specially spiritual or religious to get here. We just, for some reason, God has chosen us to be here, and so we want to be faithful and responsible. And we're just looking around like, wow, we've got 10,000 people's attention. Like, God, help us to not help make it about ourselves. Help us to point people to you, to honor you with these next 2 hours of people's attention in front of us. And we just could not believe it. We're so blown away every night, and it just continues to grow. And so I don't know. Remember what your original question was?
No,
I think it was like, how did it happen?
Even matter. I'm
but
so,
I'm just
I'm
like,
so locked into the story.
Well,
I'm like, this is
we're
great.
just like blown away, and it continues to roll on. And I'm just, the thing is, like, I would be doing it. It's not the success that keeps me doing it. Like whether I was leading worship for Home Fellowship or a church or in an arena, it's just what I'm called to do, and I get so much satisfaction out of it. It's not other artists think like, wow, that I've talked to that don't have the calling to write for the church. Like, well, you really like, you surrendered all that to the Lord so you could write songs for the church to sing. And I'm like, I didn't surrender anything. Like, I get the most joy and satisfaction as a songwriter. For me, I get when I hear the church is using it to sing new prayers to Jesus as a community. There's nothing like to hear. You mentioned CCLI, which is a weird way to put it, but when I see songs like on the CCLI charts connecting, which means that worship leaders are playing them in churches.
Yeah, and it's
better than a Grammy
CCLI
to me.
is real quick, so folks that don't know.
That's a good question.
He
You
says
probably
better
know more
a
than
Grammy.
me.
I mean, isn't it just a pool of artists that put together their worship songs, and people can
what CCLI
license them?
did, there's copyright, and it's kind of a gray area of like, our church is allowed to print lyrics of a copywritten song on their bulletins, or they're allowed to put it on the screens. What about streaming? Like, and to just do a huge umbrella license for churches. CCLI was really a service to churches, not songwriters. For churches just to come and get an umbrella license for their community, to say any songs that have been registered in CCLI, if you subscribe to this license, the Christian Copyright Licensing Incorporated, maybe
Something like that.
And then you are kind of allowed to use this within your nonprofit organization. And so it gives churches legal like ability to use these songs in various ways. But it also, through the subscription model, pays back writers for the people that write these songs for the churches. And so it's a way to bless the writers. It's a way to help the churches.
Yeah, it's a win-win for everybody involved. Yeah. So you said something interesting. You said surrender, and how this is just what you've always done, right? Whether you were doing leading worship in a house, leading worship at a church, leading worship at a high school, any type of venue, this is always something you've done. But having grown up the son of a worship pastor and in the church and going to a Christian school, was there ever, like, do you remember just kind of always being in love with Jesus, or was there ever a point where you're like, okay, my family's faith has became my own? Hey, if you want to see the extended version of this podcast, completely unedited, consider partnering with us in our online community for as little as $5 a month. In exchange, you get access to these podcasts as we stream them live before anyone else gets to see them. You get access to the replay of our daily after party streams, access to our private Discord server, access to discount codes, and so much more. So help us continue contextualizing the gospel through media, podcasting, and YouTube, and partner with us for as little as $5 a month. Also, be sure to follow us on the Spotify podcast app, on Facebook, and on Instagram. We're constantly posting content there that I think you'll find extremely valuable. All right, I'll see you over there.
Peace.